Hello students of 8th standard. We are continuing with 6th chapter, that is effects of British rule in India. In the previous video, we had learned about effects of British rule on peasants, agriculture sector and on the social life of the people. In this video, we are going to learn about the effects of British rule on trade, industries, and also we are going to learn about reforms made by William Bentinck. First, destruction of Indian trade and industries. Destruction means to destroy. So in this, we are going to learn about how the Indian trade and industries were destroyed by the British rule. Handlooms were supplied to the markets of Asia and Europe. Now handlooms, what are handlooms? Handlooms are the clothes which are weaved by hands. Weaving clothes without electricity, that is handlooms. Best example is khadi. Now these handlooms which were made by the people with their hands, they were supplied to Asia and European markets, which had a very good demand over there. And because of that, our people also used to get employment. And in return, they earned a very good amount of price. Indian commodities had high demand in European markets. Which were the commodities which had a high demand in European markets? We have learnt in first chapter. We had learnt silk, cotton, spices. All these had a high demand in European markets. We had silk, jute, muslin, salt, saltpeter and sugar also. What is saltpeter? It is used in fertilizer. It is a very good food preservative and it is used in rockets and fireworks also. So these had a very high demand in European markets. And when these commodities were exported from India to European markets, in exchange of it, we used to get bullion. What is bullion? Bullion means bars of gold and silver. So you can imagine whenever all these commodities were sent to other countries and in return we were earning bars of gold and silver, you can imagine the prosperity of India. And that is the reason till 18th century India was very prosperous country. Right? Now, the situation changed later on. Situation got reversed. With the British rule, everything changed. What we were earning in bullions, same thing they started earning. And because of that, England started prospering. And on the other hand, India's economy started deteriorating. So there was a decline in economy of India. Britishers only from
500 crore people.
You can imagine if as per today's
500 crore
calculation is
rupees
taken from only one province, that is Bengal, Britishers had captured almost whole of India. So you can imagine from each and every province they might have taken crores and crores of rupees. And that is how England started prospering and the economy of India started declining. There was a all of sudden decline of Indian economy. So on one hand, England was prospering. On the other hand, India was deteriorating. Now, raw materials which were manufactured in India and the money which were collected from India, that was all sent to England. And because of that, business and industries prospered in England. Now the raw materials, if you remember in the first video of this chapter, I had told you that raw materials were purchased from India at a very low price. And they were sent there in England. They manufactured there and the same product was sent here, okay, to sell it in the Indian market. And with the money which was collected from India, that also increased the prosperity of England. Their industrial revolution started and people started many industries and they all started prospering. On the other hand, when we talk about India, the small industries, cottage industries, all they started closing down. Now, clothes manufactured in England was imported in India with no tax. It means they used to take the raw materials from India, they used to manufacture it and they brought that product to India to sell it. But after importing, there was no tax on it. Whereas clothes which were manufactured in India, on that up to 80% taxes were there. The clothes which were manufactured in India, they became costlier, and the clothes which were manufactured in England, they were quite cheap. So they were ready to take the clothes which were manufactured in England and which were imported here without any tax. And they were not ready to purchase those goods which were manufactured in India. And this is how the clothes which were manufactured in England had a great demand. On the other side, the clothes which were manufactured in India started losing its market. And like this, the textile industries also started closing down. So the clothes of India, they became costlier in India itself. And people gave more preference in purchasing the clothes which were manufactured in India. So this is how
England.
the effects of British rule was there on Indian trade as well as on the industries. Here we had learned about how the handlooms which were in great demand in Asia and European markets, and this is how we had earned a lot of prosperity. Indian products were high in demand in European markets. We have learned about all these things in the first chapter also. Jute, silk, woolen clothes, muslin. What is muslin? Muslin is a very fine cotton clothes which was earlier hand woven and which is very much famous of Dhaka, that is in Bangladesh now, but it was very famous during those days. And salt, saltpetre and sugar. Okay, and when we were exporting all these things, in return we were earning bullion. The situation reversed and all the flow of bullion, okay, that all went towards the England markets. Then we have learned how the Britishers took 500 crore rupees from only Bengal province, and this shows the decline of Indian economy. Then the raw materials of India and the money collected from India, they were all sent to England, and where there was a industrial revolution and how they started prospering. We have learnt about the clothes which were manufactured in they became very cheap, and the clothes which were manufactured in India, on it up to 80% of taxes were levied and they became costlier in Indian market itself. Indian handicraft and the cottage industries could not sustain. What do you mean by handicraft? Handicraft means those crafts which are made by hands. It includes embroidery, knitting, woodcraft, pottery, etc. Now, this requires a lot of creativity and skill. This also started ruining, and even the cottage industry also started closing down because there was tough competition between Indian markets and the England markets. Next one, skill-based industries. Skill-based industries means those industries which need skill in it. स्किल यानी कला. तो उस टाइम पे तो जो इंडस्ट्रीज में कला की जरूरत पड़ती थी, विच रिक्वायर्ड अ लॉट ऑफ स्किल, दोज इंडस्ट्रीज ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड क्लोजिंग डाउन. These industries included textile industries. Textile industries are those industries where clothes are made. Glass, paper industry, minerals, shipbuildings, all these industries are skill-based industries, and they suffered losses and they started ruining. And later they were closed also. Skilled laborers, they became unemployed because they did not had any work because all these got closed. So they became unemployed and they became poorer and poorer day by day. Now, on page number 35, if you see, we have picture 6.3, plight of cottage industries in India. Plight means difficult situation. You can see here, in the picture you can see, a potter is sitting, he has no work to do as no one is purchasing his products. So these people are unemployed. Even the cobbler also, due to heavy taxes, no one is purchasing goods from them. See, all these are a part of skill industries and cottage industries where people had no work to do because of the heavy taxes levied on it. Right, on page number 34 here, it is written lakhs of skilled laborers became unemployed and gradually the poor workers of the rural areas of India became poorer. Right? So this was the situation of the people during that time. Now I am reading page number 35, suspicion about the reforms. Now suspicion means to have doubts and reforms means changes. So there were some reforms which were made by William Bentinck. Lord William Bentinck was the Governor General of India and he brought some reforms in India. But the people of India during that time looked at those reforms with doubt. Okay, they were suspicious about the reforms made by him. And there was a liberal thinking also which was growing in England and that gradually started coming to India also. So let us go through the reforms which were made by Lord William Bentinck. William Bentinck introduced beneficial reforms. Indians were given job in the company administration. Company administration means British East India Company. So earlier Indian people were not given job in company's administration. They were not doing the job of all these administration, managing the things. All the work was done by the Britishers. Later on, when Lord William Bentinck brought the reforms, this was one of the reform where Indian people will be given job in the company administration. So people started getting jobs in it. Next, mother tongue was allowed to use in court of law. Earlier, what happened? Britishers were not able to understand our language. And due to this, many a times our people were not able to express their views, whatever they wanted to say. And due to this, they were punished for the things which they had never done it. So like this, many people were facing problem to express their view, to give their opinion. Now this was become easy for our people as Lord William Bentinck had brought this reform that mother tongue could be used in the court of law. Now it became very easy for the people to say or give their opinion regarding anything. Next one, Raja Ram Mohan Roy and other reformers, they had put a lot of effort to stop Sati Pratha. We know what is Sati system, right? Last year we had learnt about Sati Pratha. Sati Pratha means when a husband dies, the wife is forced to jump into the fire and give away her life. So this system, Sati system, it was opposed by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He was a reformer of that time. He became very famous for his efforts against the Sati Pratha. And with the help of all these people, William Bentinck agreed to stop this evil custom of Sati Pratha and he brought a law in year 1829 CE. Next, Orthodox people witnessed all these reforms with suspicion. Who are Orthodox people? Orthodox people are those people who are having traditional belief. Now these Orthodox people thought that these reforms are made in India so that the Britishers could destroy our culture. And they thought that whatever systems are going on, whatever evil customs are going on, they are all right because they have been passed from generations to generations. So they thought that they should continue forever. But other social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy and other reformers like Jyotiba Phule, Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Vivekananda, who wanted to change the evil customs which were prevalent during that time. So like this, the Orthodox people thought that the Britishers wanted to destroy our culture. Now on page number 35, third paragraph. The company had passed a resolution to spend 1 lakh rupees every year on education, but it was not implemented. So the resolution which was passed to spend 1 lakh rupees was just on paper. Okay, no 1 lakh rupees was spent every year for the education in India. Finally, an education committee was formed during the time of Bentinck. Committee means a group of people who will work on education system that was made during the time of William Bentinck. In the year 1834, we had Lord Macaulay who introduced English education in India, right? See, it is written here. In the year 1834, Lord Macaulay thought of introducing English education in India. However, the educational method advocated by Lord Macaulay could not benefit the youth. Now, why do you think that education method which was advocated by Lord Macaulay could not benefit the youth? Because the education method which was brought by him, Okay, in this Indians were not given any information about our culture, our ancestors. In fact, the education comprised of British and their culture. So due to this, the youth could not take the benefit of it. And Indian lost the advantage of acquiring the ancient knowledge and skills developed by their ancestors. Now the ancestors, they were also skillful in their own way. They had their own ancient knowledge. Now the youth also failed to get all these things from their ancestors. So they were not able to acquire English education also, and they were unable to get the ancient knowledge and the skills from their ancestors. The method of British education system was opposed by number of intellectuals and also by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, what did the Mahatma Gandhi said about it? Mahatma Gandhi called it as to give millions a knowledge of English. It means by giving English education to millions of peoples of India is making them slave for the Britishers. That by receiving English education we have enslaved the nation, and by receiving it, okay, the Indians who went and got the English education, they have enslaved the nation. Now, later 3 universities were established in 1857. This we had learnt in the previous history chapter also. Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. If for the administration purpose, a British officer had to be called to India, then his family also would come. Okay, and due to this, the cost of the Britishers could increase. So they thought that instead of bringing an officer from England with his family, it's better that the Indians are educated in English, and after that they would be asked to work for the British company. So like this, alongside it also developed nationalist thinking about the educated people. So now the people who got educated, they slowly and gradually started learning about various freedom movements in the world, and this is how meaning of nationalism started in the people of India. Now, many machines were invented to facilitate the industries, transport and communication. Many machineries were invented during that time so that there could be smooth functioning of the industries. Considering the convenience in running administration and strategic importance for military, the Britishers introduced the railways in India. Yes, railways started in India in 1853 between Mumbai and Thane. This we had learnt in the previous history chapter. It is given here, things to know. The first railway in India started between Bombay, that is Mumbai now, and Thane in the year 1853. Now, next, post and telegraph. This system was started in 1854 so that they could remain in contact with the neighboring countries also, right? And they could keep an eye on every part of India. So this became very easy for them to contact with other officers. Next, printing press and circulating newspaper. Printing means machineries were used to print newspaper, books, magazines. So during that time, printing press also started and circulation of newspaper also started. Due to this, the reforms which were made by William Bentinck and whatever the changes were happening in the country, people could know with the help of this media, right? Next, reforms which were made by the Britishers. They were for the benefit of themselves. But all these turned to be blessing in disguise for the Indian people. Blessing in disguise means this reforms were started for the Britishers, but we got the benefit of it later, right? Now it is given here, the class acquired the English education, spearheaded the social reforms and nationalism in India. Now, those people who were educated in English, the Indian people, right? They started reading a lot of books. And then they came to know that what is happening around the world. How was the behavior of the British people with the Indian people? Okay, what were the wrong policies which were implied on it? As well as how the people of other countries, they fought for their right and for freedom with the Britishers. So all this started coming to know from the magazines and books and newspaper, right? So this was the benefit of English education to our people. And since they were more familiar with the contemporary development in the world around. So what was happening around during that time, all they came to know, and slowly and gradually they thought that how we should also work for our freedom. The post and telegraph brought people closer. The benefit of introducing post and telegraph proved to be very fruitful for us because the leaders took advantage of it and started spreading the feeling of nationalism in India. So students, here we complete our chapter. I have written all the main points on the board which you have to copy in your CW carefully. On page number 36, we have set of questions which you have to do. All the questions I have discussed in the video. So go through the chapter carefully, read it properly and go through the video also. You will get all the answers in it. And write question answers in your CW.